Are you ready?
Starting now?
Oh, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And right off the bat, I got to tell you something. Don't be worried about me, though, okay?
Any more than I usually am?
Right. But,
Right.
Okay, so first of all, I know it's Thursday, and we'll talk about that in a second. But not to worry you, I had pizza tonight, okay? I'm going to eat more. But yeah, you know, the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, I know they're feeding us dinner there tomorrow, and I figured, what the fuck, man? You know, we're recording. It's a Thursday, but fuck it, I got pizza. So anyhow, yeah, when we decided to record even earlier, I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I'll just go and I'll wolf down a couple of pieces to get my podcast fuel.
All right.
And then probably have a few more pieces later. But yeah, so we're doing a thing this weekend, which I've talked about a little bit on Instagram. But yeah, so yeah, we're doing a thing. That's why we're recording on Thursday night. So
it is. We're doing some sort of thing. I fucking don't know. Don't ask me. I'm showing up, man.
Right. So we're, and again, I know I posted on Instagram about it, but we're going to a sober retreat this weekend, which Mike and I, in 13 and a half years, have never been to one. So, number one, it's a new thing. I think it'll be cool. You know, it's a 12-step.
Popping our cherry.
Popping our 12-step retreat cherry. Is this a 13-step? No. Oh, okay. Wait, note to self, this is not that kind of retreat.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Again, never been. I have no idea what the fuck's going to go on.
Shit, yeah, we're not a glum lot. Okay, note to self, that could happen. But no, I mean, we've never been to a sober retreat before, and it hasn't been because, I mean, I've never been like, I don't want to go to one. I know of them and just never kind of got around to it type of thing, you know? But I know that some of the retreats are more, I've talked to people that have gone to or heard of people that have gone to more of these like meditation type of retreats where it's just, it's that quiet and reflecting type of thing, which I don't know. I mean, at certain times I'd be like, I wouldn't mind getting away for a little bit and just quieting the mind, but I don't know that that's me, you know? So, I wouldn't mind just going to a quiet place and enjoying myself and not necessarily having to be, I guess, structured, you know, but no, this will be fun. It's in Ohio, and our friend Mara is the one that asked us over the summer, and both Mike and I are going to speak on steps. I think you've got, what step do you have?
I have number 1.
Oh, look at you, the most important one. Yeah. And then I have step 8, and you know, I think that it's, from what I've looked at from the tentative schedule, I mean, I believe registration starts at like 4:30 tomorrow, and then they've got us busy until, God, I think up to like 10:30 or so tomorrow night, and then early Saturday all the way through again, like 9:30 or 10 o'clock on Saturday. And then, you know, half a day on Sunday to grab lunch and then we'll head out. But, so yeah, it's a thing, you know, I mean, it's a structured event, which will be kind of cool. Cause again, you know, it's, I've never been to something like that, you know, that's been more than like a meeting, you know, or something like that. So
exactly. Yeah,
I don't know. It'll be cool.
Yeah. We'll see.
Right. well, well, then it was
I'm
funny.
trying not to have contempt prior to investigation.
Well, it was funny because I mean the whole thing, and I was just thinking this was going to be some sort of like casual affair, and then Mara posted in the Facebook group, oh yeah, by the way, the rule is you got to wear a tie, and I'm like, oh, like yeah, I'm like I don't care. I mean I haven't worn a tie in a while, but then I'm like, wait a second, I don't have a tie, I have a
Mm.
shirt. I have no dress pants here. I have no dress shoes here. It was pointless, I mean, I didn't bring any of that down here, and I'm like, I'll be up in Wisconsin. I could look for it. I'm like, fuck, I don't know where all this shit is packed. So
Oh, do you
I
need
just
to
got
borrow a tie?
no, nope. I went on Kohl's website, and they had this huge monstrous sale. It was a process getting a couple of things, and that's a story. It is what it is. But I pretty much have all new clothes, So it was
Ah,
they were all on sale, man. I had like huge discounts and sale items and blah blah blah. So I'm all set.
okay.
But yeah, I was when Mara had sent me a text. She's like, "Yeah, I didn't realize we were, the whole tie thing." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not a big deal." But I'm like, I need to do some shopping, and she's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "Whatever, man." I said I told her, I said either I'm going to look really good or I'm going to look like I'm, headed to court, one of the two. And
Right. Well, yeah.
her answer was, "Huh, or maybe both."
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess I deserve that one. But
Mhm.
other thing I wanted to mention today, since we just had Michael on last week, it had
Mhm.
obviously Crazy Megan on a little while ago. Today is their 10-year wedding anniversary.
Right.
So happy anniversary to them. And it's obviously we've had both of them. Everyone knows they're really, really good friends of ours. And,
Mhm.
we're at the wedding, and yeah, just wonderful memories, but obviously two of our favorite people, as I put on
Mhm.
Facebook this morning. So happy anniversary to
Right.
them. But
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Speaking of ties, it was the last time I fucking wore a suit. 10 years ago today.
yeah, well, it was funny because I mean all the memories came up on Facebook, of course,
Mhm.
and I had the picture of you and Chris,
Right.
that in the suit, and I looked, I'm like, God damn, you actually did. You had a regular suit on. It wasn't like
Mhm.
this black thing or whatever. It was like they had different. I don't
Right.
remember what color it
The
was, but
shirt
yeah.
was black, but
Oh,
yeah,
was it?
right.
Okay, I couldn't remember
Yeah.
it in looking at it, but
Yes, I do have a big boy suit. It is dark gray with blue and purple pinstripes. Very, very faint. Very, yeah, it's a real suit.
right. Yeah, you actually look normal. Oh, do you remember that? And I don't
Mm,
remember where I found them. Do you remember the devil horns I found
yeah.
that I superimposed on your head?
Uh-huh. I do. I
And
believe those are going to show up in tomorrow's Facebook memories.
right, yeah, it should be sometime this week. But yeah, the
Mhm.
the first set I put on there, they looked out of place, and then I found I think a smaller set of fucking horns, and
No, they
there's
were big. They
were they
were like,
big?
yeah, they were like steer horns. They're like on the front of a Cadillac.
I forgot. I forgot. Maybe I had the small ones first, and I decided the big ones looked better. But
Yeah,
um,
bigger's always better.
but I thought that was funny. You're all dressed up nice, but your fucking horns on your
Mhm.
head. So, but
Yep.
no, I mean, I wanted to make sure that we said happy anniversary to them, and Michael's
Mhm.
episode did really well. Is doing really well so far, and obviously Megan's did
Cool.
well. So, yeah, that was just I had both of us I know had a great time talking to him. So it was fun. It was good having him on.
Mhm.
But so I got a shit ton of things. We got a comment from or a question from a listener. Speaking of
Cool.
Megan, she sent me this actually right before we went on last week to record. Sent me this
Mhm.
whole list of questions, which we can try to dive into some of those if we want to. Yeah, she was apparently on a mission, and then
Ah.
quite a few other things. I mean, I've got things have been piling up, which is not a big deal. But yeah. But
Mhm.
first of all, what about a reading?
What about it?
What
Yeah, been
about
sitting
it?
here flipping through the book trying to find something. Nothing was jumping out at me. But I found something because, I could have just pointed again, but I really want to do that.
That
Here.
turned out well though. That was a good
Yeah,
reading the last
that was
time.
a good
So
one.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, just nothing was I don't know. Anyway, I'm in a bit of a mood because, whatever. Because as always, things never work out the way you want to. Some dumbass truck driver rolled his truck over on the freeway today, and well, I'm trying to get home, so it cost me pretty damn close to an hour.
Oh shit! Wow.
But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, right. I was actually off early, and it was all good. I'll get to go home and eat. And anyway, here we are.
Right.
Nobody cares. Um, all right. So, but I found one. It's September 28th. A fool sees not the same tree that a wise man sees. William Blake, poet dude. We do not see alcohol and drugs the way many others do. Research shows that as addicts, we have a different experience than non-addicts when we drink or use. We can't stop after one drink or one hit, and we become the fool. We give up things in order to keep using. We give up dignity, family, friends, and values. Many of us give up our lives. When we enter recovery, we get introduced to a base of wisdom. We get to see the world the way it is, not the way that we want it to be. We learn practical, useful wisdom that cuts through our denial and inflated egos. It brings hope to the hopeless and humility to the arrogant. As soon as we leave our meetings, we start losing this wisdom. We always need to return for more. Prayer for the day. Higher power, I pray for the wisdom and insight into your will and vision for me. Help me to see the world as it is, not just the way I want to see it. Today's action, because this is a program of action. Today, I will list 5 pieces of practical wisdom I have gained from my recovery program.
So, a few different things I wrote down. Don't put your book away yet, because it was a list of things that I wanted to kind of
tell me what to do.
Okay, let me step back, please. Could you hang on to your book?
I suggest you don't put that book away.
I would hope that you now, if you wouldn't mind, kind sir.
It's right here.
But the first thing was the losing wisdom after meetings, and then the what was that? The list of things that or wisdom that we've gained. What was the last thing? The wisdom that we've gained during our recovery.
The action?
Yeah.
Yeah. Today I will list 5 pieces of practical wisdom I have gained from my recovery program.
I can list one, everything.
Right.
I mean, seriously, when I thought about that, I'm like, God, I'm like, shit, fucking everything, man. Because and that is the thing. And I mean, we've talked about it on here, but the old saying and stuff like that is that we can act well for 60 minutes or for however long the meeting is, but what happens between the Our Father and the Serenity Prayer, that matters.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, the farther we get away from anything like that, any practical practice of any of this, I mean, we can lose our not only wisdom, but lose our shit. Think about that, and I mean, we talk about the prayers and the process in the morning and then the prayers at night. I think the nighttime stuff too, and I know I've said it before, is that it helps me clear my head. It helps me sleep. But it's that bookend to the day, and regardless of, because there's still, I mean, life happens, shit happens. All of us get pissed. A fucking truck rolls over and fucks up whatever it is. And I mean, we openly talk about how fucking frustrated we get over the stupidest things, that get in our way. But, literally at the end of the day, I couldn't even imagine, going back to how I used to be, just going to bed all fucking grumbly,
Oh, yeah. Right. I mean, I'm kind of playing it up a bit, but, it was a little rough today. But, I mean, it's also over, when you said, focus on the practical wisdoms we've learned. One of the hugest one for me is living in the moment, living in the now, that me being stuck in traffic for an hour, about 2 hours ago was 2 hours ago. I'm not stuck in traffic right now, still a little annoyed at it, but I'm not there anymore. It's in the past, and I got through it. I got home. I'm here. So yeah, I mean, that's a huge one, right? Oh yeah. The old way, I'd still be all, and again, using it as an excuse, making myself feel better for my bad behavior. I'm entitled to feel like shit and be pissed off and, and get fucked up and make everybody else around me miserable because I deserve it. No, I don't. No one does. No. Right. And again, it was 2 hours ago. It's not now. Now I'm sitting here talking to my friend over the interwebs.
Right.
That's what's going on right now. And it's not bad.
Well, and
Did
you
I
think
put the
about
book down yet? No.
it. No. Well, you could put it down. Just keep it within
Yeah.
arm's length. How's that?
All
But
right.
I mean, you think about it too with everyone the whole the I need a drink mentality. You know, I had a day I need a
Mm-hmm.
drink, or you know, I
Mm-hmm.
could really use a drink, that sort of thing. And
Right.
you know, even for folks that there's millions of people that say that do not have our problem, that
No,
are
right.
not alcoholics, not drug
Mm-hmm.
addicts, not compulsive, but that's a you know that's a matter of you know it's a societal thing. You know, that's what people do. You
Sure.
know, and I was trying to think about that now. Do I ever? I don't know of anything that. Well, if I say that you know if I ran out of ice cream, well, I could really use some ice cream. Sometimes I've said
Sure.
I need to stop at the store and get ice cream,
Sure.
or I need coffee. I don't even say
Uh-huh.
that I need coffee in the morning. I mean, I drink coffee. I don't
Right.
get out of bed in the morning and they don't talk to me until I had my coffee. I'm not that kind of guy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I will say, you know, kind of give me my peace until I get my
Right.
fucking readings done. But you know, but I don't even say that because everyone knows. And if they didn't know, if I was
Mm-hmm.
around somebody new,
Right.
I've always been very open. Anyone I've ever met, I mean, they know my
Mm-hmm.
deal, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That goes back to that, you know, enjoying the freedom type of thing that we could realize that
Mm-hmm.
again, it's been 2 hours ago or whatever shit happened 2 weeks ago or 2 days ago or, you know, even two
Right.
minutes ago, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you were playing it up a little bit, but I also know that, I mean, you do that every fucking day. And, you know, all it
Right.
takes is one little glitch and, you know, it adds to that's your day, you know,
Yeah.
it's so,
Yep.
but, the one other thing on there, it says, where it said we become the fool, and then it listed we lose dignity, family, or something about dignity, family, and there was like two other things that I missed.
Right, yeah. Let's see here. We give up things in order to keep using. Damn, excuse me. We give up dignity, family, friends, and values. Many
Okay,
of us give up our lives.
yeah, I remember the give up our lives things, but boy,
Mm-hmm.
isn't that all true? You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
dignity, family, friends, and values, which you know, if I had to, okay, I'm just going to take that and write that on a piece of paper and write gratitude lists next to it.
Uh-huh.
Because I mean that about sums it. You know, if I don't, you know, if I fuck up these things, then I will lose my life. You know,
Yeah.
isn't that crazy? You know, so
Mm-hmm.
and once
Yeah,
again,
definitely. Yeah, grateful. Grateful I have dignity. Grateful I have family, friends, and I'm grateful I have values today.
right.
Yep.
And I think you know one of the first things that was in there was that you know we see alcohol and drugs differently. Which I mean,
Right.
I want in my head I was like, well, duh. But I mean, it is
Yeah.
it is true. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's you know the fact that we see and we've talked about it before, whether it's you know hereditary or environmental or whatever it is. Both of us feel that
Right.
we've been this way. We just needed you know we've been this way as human beings. Just the alcohol, I mean, clearly was just something that you know was just throwing fuel on the fire, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and we talked about, the normies out there, oh, I need a drink, right? Yeah, but they already know how to live in the now and they know that they can have that drink and feel good for, whatever, the 20 minutes or however long that, that beer gives them that little buzz and then they move on with their lives. They go play with their kids or whatever. Not us,
Right.
man. We fucking, that buzz is everything, and we just want more and more and more. We want a bigger one, more of it, more, please, more. Yeah. So, and we don't know how to live in the moment. We're looking for that next moment. We're looking for that more, that next beer, that next drink, that next shot, that next hit, that next whatever. Yeah, we're we're not even content to sit there with that buzz of that first beer. We're looking forward to that second beer and more of that buzz when we're
Right.
doing it. We're not.
Right.
We're not. I didn't sit there and ooh, I'm feeling a little good. I had a beer. No, it was. I'm looking forward to the fucking seventh one.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. We didn't know how to live in the now. Those normies can sit there and enjoy that drink. We couldn't. We were looking 14 drinks down the road.
So did you? And I don't know if we ever talked about this. Did you ever? whether it was wine or any type of hard alcohol, did you ever kind of get that? I don't want to say, I know you weren't, I don't think you were like a connoisseur or anything like that, but was there
Huh.
ever anything that you were like, again, people, wine tasting because they really, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, this has this flavor versus that. A lot of people do with scotch and
Right.
bourbon and whatever. Did you
Hmm.
ever get into any of that where you like were kind of into a certain type of thing and, I don't know, testing out the connoisseur-ish type of thing or no?
I mean, yeah, beers a little, yeah, and bourbon a little. I mean, given my druthers, wild turkey and up, but, uh,
Wild turkey and up.
right, right. But I mean, trust me, there were plenty of times when it was Old Crow, and I was fine with that too because I
Right.
was there for the effect. Right. Yes, yes, and again, good beers, but good beers, it's changed a little bit, but they tended not to, they had a little bit higher alcohol content, I guess. I don't know. I just wanted to get fucked up.
Right.
Yes, having a good tasting beer occasionally was nice, and I did enjoy that, but clearly towards the end, I didn't give a fuck one way or another. I was
Right.
pounding, bottom, you know, bottom label fucking vodka. I just wanted to make sure it was the 100 proof or higher, so it got to me faster.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and with beer, I mean, there was certain beer that I liked better than others, and that I learned to
Hmm.
enjoy better than others, and certain beers that I didn't like. But I mean, I was never into somebody like this whatever beer, try this type of thing. I'm like,
Hmm.
it is what it is.
Right.
But the same thing with there was really nothing that I'm like, like different types of vodkas, for instance. Again, same as you. I
Mm.
was buying the biggest bottle of the cheapest shit or the pint
Sure.
of whatever. And
Yep.
I mean, literally, because vodka was usually the cheapest that you could get
Hmm.
for the most part. And, you could get a lot of it for very little money, relatively
Right.
speaking.
Yep.
But, between the Grey Gooses and all these different types of vodkas,
Hmm.
I mean, I just, I don't know. I never really cared. Like if I went someplace and people like, oh, the specials are only on rail drinks. In my head, I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Right.
I mean, I never did. So when the first real kind of mixed drink I used to drink all the time was, 7 and 7, which was Seagram 7 and 7
Right.
Up. But
Uh-huh.
I didn't care. I mean, really, when it came down to it, even before I had a true problem, it got to the point where I mean, what do I care if it's Seagrams or some other shit? I don't care.
Right.
Or a
Yeah.
Grey Goose and whatever. I mean, I wouldn't give a fuck if it was that or basic. I just never, I don't know, I never had that discerning of a
Pop
taste, I
off.
guess. But really, I just never had a, I don't know that that's ever anything that anything that I've
Mm.
ever asked you. So it just kind of
Yeah.
popped into my head. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did like, good dark beers for a while. I mean, at the end I was drinking, Steel Reserve, malt liquor, good fucking chemical ghetto stuff.
right,
That was my beer. Yeah,
right,
it was malt liquor and it was nasty, but it had I think it was 8 or something percent.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
Effect. That's all I
I,
cared about.
I think I only know of Steel Reserve from everyone talking about it at the Keating Center. I'm
Mm-hmm.
almost positive. I mean, 99% sure I never had it, and I don't
Mm.
know that they would have had that around Wisconsin. But I don't know.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know
they
where
did.
it's. Did they?
Oh yeah, it's pretty much everywhere now.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
yeah.
say. I mean, I don't know. I would if I ever bought cheap beer, it was just usually in a 12 pack or a case, and then whatever it was, I didn't give a fuck. It just
Right.
but yeah, so again, just kind of interesting stuff that I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
know. I never asked you on that, but so back to the reading though. I mean, the main thing is that obviously I don't know the things that we can lose, the mindset that we have, and obviously the wisdom. Like I said, that action item, 5 items, one everything. That's it. I, I've learned everything, and I tend to forget everything unless I do this.
Hmm.
Unless I do all of this every day. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
exactly. Yeah.
kind of kind
Like,
of what it comes
like the
down
meeting
to.
said, man, we leave the meeting, we leave, the focus on the program, whether it's, in a church basement or, reading our books in the morning or whatever, we as soon as we stop that, it starts to fade. It's absolutely true for me. I have to refocus myself on the program and the way I'm supposed to be doing things. Otherwise, I will revert back to the way I used to do things, and that wasn't very good.
Right.
Right.
So quick question, and this is another one. I actually, this may be written on my sheet. It's someplace, but when we were
Mm,
talking about or you were mentioning kind of living in the moment and stuff like that, I don't
mm,
remember if I read it, probably on Instagram or someplace, or heard it on a podcast. But the person was talking about how difficult it was, especially in early sobriety, but even to this day. And this person they had some years, I can't remember how many, but
mhm,
they got so used to living in chaos that
mm,
when everything calms down, they didn't know what to do
mhm.
with themselves. So
Right.
did you, I mean, even to this day, I mean, do you still feel like you've always got to do something? Do you feel like there's got not necessarily chaos, but activity and motion and that sort of thing?
No, not like I used to. No. I
Right.
mean, like we
Right.
talked about a few weeks ago, I mean, when I'll be driving, I will turn the radio off, the podcasts or whatever, and just be in the quiet. I actually find myself doing it at home sometimes. I'll put the phone down, I won't have the TV on, and I'll just fucking sit for 20 minutes. And yeah, it's goddamn amazing, but but it happens. It doesn't happen a lot, usually the phone's in my hand, I'm scrolling some bullshit, or the TV's on, I'm watching some nonsense or whatever. But there are times where I just kind of sit.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I could do that today.
But it is, and I was just thinking about it as you were talking. I think that, and I forgot we had talked about that a few weeks ago, but I think the only time that I get that anxious, I have to do something type of thing, is
Mm-hmm.
if something either is weighing on me, or some
Mm-hmm.
sort of what pressure, whether it's perceived or real,
Right.
that I have, or whether it's some sort of stress, again, real or imagined. At
Mm-hmm.
that point, I feel like I have to keep moving around. I feel like I'm always doing something. I
Right.
don't sit around a lot, but again, I back to when I took that trip, and that again, Ozarks and Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
City and all that stuff. And I mean, yes, I was running around doing some shit,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the Ozarks because I was there longer.
Right.
But even when I was in Memphis, after I ate, and I was just sitting on this. It wasn't a stoop; it was almost like this flower pot type of thing, next between like two of the two of the bars. And I was
Uh-huh.
just watching, they had a couple of street performers out there, and while I was people watching, I was on Instagram here and there a little bit, I was taking some pictures and whatever and posting them,
Right.
but just kind of sitting there doing nothing, because I had
Mm-hmm.
I had time, and
Yeah.
same thing in the Ozarks when I took the walks and stuff like that, or I just sit there and like stare at shit for a minute, and I'm like,
Yeah. Right.
it's fucking nice, but then again, I had no place to be, nothing
Mm-hmm.
specifically to do. I had some work stuff that I was doing, here and there while I was there, but I
Right.
had these blocks of times set aside where I didn't have to do anything, and it
Mm-hmm.
was it was wonderful. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
And like you
Yeah.
said, not something I could have done years ago, and I didn't do
No.
years ago.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I'm I'm craving it because we're 4 weeks out from laying on the beach in Mexico, man, and I'm just
Right.
fucking I cannot wait to
Right.
just right. Just sit there in a chair, have a book with me and then the ocean in front of me and the sun shining, and oh god, I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah. Well, and I started, I've been kind of looking around because kind of once I get my shit in order, and start to move around a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to figure out where I'd like to go, first and stuff like that, or what or when, and I've been looking at, I think I mentioned to you, like the Carolinas and stuff like that, like you
Mm-hmm.
know there's a couple of places like Carolina Beach in North Carolina. There's Myrtle Beach and all these places off season. You get these
Right.
Airbnbs for relatively cheap, and they're right on the
Mm-hmm.
ocean. And then the first thing I did, I started looking at the weather, and I'm like, I see high of 60 and low of maybe 40 something. I'm like, oh fuck it, that's not.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped myself. I'm like, wait a second. It's basically January and February that I'm looking at, and it's a high of
Right.
60 and a low of 40, and no
Mm-hmm.
snow. No
Mm-hmm.
fucking
Right.
snow. And these places that I'm looking at, they're like condos. It would be right on the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, who the fuck are you to complain? I
Right.
mean, once if I can afford to do it, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, what do I care? Then I start thinking about it. Like in my mind, like you just said, sitting on a porch with a book, whatever. Clearly, I'd be,
Hmm.
I'd be working. It'd be a normal day, but or
Right.
normal days. But weekends, nights,
Hmm.
mornings. So I got to have a jacket on and a pair of fucking sweats and sit outside and do my reading, and it's 60
Right.
degrees. You know,
Uh-huh.
okay. Um, what the
Right.
what the fuck's wrong with you? Me,
Uh-huh.
as
Uh-huh.
as I'm speaking to myself.
Hmm.
But again, that goes back to everything I always talk about, that I how it's so easy for me to forget to be grateful. The fact that I
Hmm.
could do something like that, and it's not some extravagant place or anything like that. They're nice,
Right.
but they're affordable based on what I want to
Hmm.
do and based on where they
Right.
are. They'd be clean and comfortable and on the fucking ocean.
Yep.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I need to get my. It's not even getting my priorities set. I just gotta get my fucking mind on track every once in a while. It's just stupid,
Hmm.
But again,
Right.
that's
But again, that's yeah, right. Because as soon as we stop doing what we're supposed to do, it starts to fade. And
right.
our shit takes over, and then we got to go. Wait a minute, hey asshole!
Yeah, I had a was it yesterday or the yeah, it was yesterday. I had a meeting that I was kind of pumped up about. It didn't go bad, but I don't think it's going to go in the way that I wanted it to. But and I was kind of grumbly about it. I'm like, fuck, man, I should have done this research more. Should have done this, and all these
Mm,
different things. And then so this was like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon that I had this meeting, 1 or 1:30, and then so kind of all day it's in the back of my head, and I'm kind of like what the fuck in myself, and I'm kicking myself in the ass and all this different shit. And speaking of, again, capping out the day, when I laid down at night, I
hmm.
thought, I'm like, you know what? I said, basically, I was kind of redoing all this shit in my head. And I'm like,
Hmm.
based on this, and this, first of all, I went into it giving it my best effort. That's all I ever hope for,
Right.
best effort, put my best foot forward. It's based on all my mind. If this wasn't a right fit, whatever the deal is for this thing, whatever, man. I mean, I can't change that part of it. And I went to sleep.
Nope. Hmm.
I'm like, but here's the thing, I walk around all day, but the minute I lay down, it's in this recovery mode, and I get my head
Hmm.
straight again. Fucking weird,
Hmm.
but in a
Yeah.
really, really good way. Just a really
Right.
good way. But the other thing that I wrote, well, first of all, anything else on the reading? I mean, I think we kind of talked about that, but
Hmm.
anything else? Any
Yeah.
thoughts on the reading?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay. So the only other thing I thought about, just kind of not out of the ordinary, but with the holidays and stuff like that coming up, I made a note here. Have Mike do his holiday event advice. So, because I love when you do it. You've been doing it now for a year and a half, and every time we have a
Mhm.
holiday come up. So, Mike, the holidays are coming up. How it might be
Ah.
hard for us to stay sober. How do we do it?
Well, first of all, work the fucking program.
Right.
Right. But no. You know, it's a day on the calendar. Don't put too much emphasis on it. Don't put too many expectations to it. I mean, I'm coming to Kathy's for Thanksgiving, dragging Amber and Lydia along with me. It's going to be nice. It's going to be, but I don't have any expectations that it's going to be some fucking magical, wonderful thing. It's going to be the people that I love together hanging out. That's what it is, and God knows that's more than enough. So yeah, don't overinflate things. Especially if you're early in recovery, you're not going to fix everything because guess what? You're probably not even working the fucking ninth step yet. So settle down, and and guess what? You're never going to finish that ninth step, which we've talked about plenty of times. So yeah, go and just do what you can. Be there. Be a good person. You know, contribute to it positively, and you're going to have a good time. Um, and have an escape plan. That's one of the big ones. A lot of us, we come from families, with this thing that we have didn't just come out of thin air. Some of us it did, but most of us it didn't. We came from someplace, and I know my family definitely like to rip it up pretty damn good on holidays, and I couldn't wait to join in. I just couldn't stop once I joined in. So yes, if you're going to be, first of all, if you're not ready to be in that sort of an environment, don't fucking go.
Right.
There's plenty of things for us to do. If you're in any sort of populated area, there's going to be alkathons going on. Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. There's sober clubs everywhere, and they have 24 hours of meetings. There's a place to go to be with us, and but yeah, again, have that escape plan. Go show up, say hi to mom and grandma and whoever else you got to fucking say hi to. And cousin Jerry keeps going to the bathroom to powder his nose. Leave him the fuck alone. Don't go with him. I don't know where Jerry came from, but all right. Yes, but have that escape plan. If you can, if you're early in sobriety, there's probably going to be somebody in your circle that doesn't have a place to go for various reasons. They may have burned all those bridges. They don't have any place to go. They may be in a different area because, they had to get out of where they were at to start getting this recovery thing. So they may not have their people within distance. Take somebody with you. It's always better to not do anything alone in early recovery. And again, have that escape plan, have a number, have those phone numbers, have people you can call. Sometimes all you're going to need to do is just call somebody in the program and say, hey man, I'm having a rough time, and talk to them. And, that moment that you were having will pass. And you can go back and sit with grandma for another half an hour and then get the fuck out of there.
Right.
It doesn't have to be everything. And you're always good. And if you're doing this thing and you're doing it right, you will have next year to make it better. And then the year after that to make it better, because you're going to be better to be able to make it better for the others around you. So yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything else. Those pretty much cover it. Don't do it by yourself. If you're not ready, don't do it at all. And have a way to get out of there safely. The most important thing is January 6th, man. Sobriety is the most important thing. And that day on the calendar isn't all that important, because you know what? The day after that day on the calendar is another day that you're going to have to fucking do shit. So make sure you're there to do that shit.
Right. Yeah, and I think I'd have to listen back. Maybe I will now to last year's episode. I remember Uncle Jerry came up, and I think we talked about something sexually inappropriate with Uncle Jerry too. But I don't. Somehow, as soon as you said Uncle Jerry, I'm like
hot whiskey breath on your ear.
Yeah, I think we made some sort of inappropriate comment about Uncle Jerry, and it wasn't just him powdering his nose. But yeah, I mean the escape plan is the biggest thing.
So maybe I'm a little healthier than I was a year ago. Is that what you're trying to say?
It was well. Whoever brought it up, one of us did. So I don't know if we're healthy or just one of us just didn't tee up the inappropriate, sexual innuendo this year. That's all.
All right.
But and we talked about our first holidays, and there was a couple episodes we've talked about it specifically. But that is 100% all of what you said, and that's why you say the same things every single time, and that's why I keep asking you to do it, because it's that repetition. It's comforting to me, to hear it. It's always been comforting to me to hear the same things over and over, because it's a point of comfort, because I know that you don't change with that. The people that we've known for years that taught us all this shit don't change. Hopefully
the truth doesn't change.
Yeah, and in the biggest thing, both of our sponsors said was that escape plan thing, and again to this day, and even if I'll say it again, we are so fortunate to have the family situation that we do, but and if shit went weird, I got a couple of bucks in my pocket in a car, I can leave. I mean. It's nothing against my sister or my family or anything like that. It just
Kathy gets all fucked up and starts throwing shit around.
right. Yeah, we'll go find a prostitute in a cheap motel or something like that.
Wow. All right. Well, I was going to just get the motel, but I'm going to have the girls with me. But get them their own room, and there you go.
Right. But no, I mean there is a certain freedom in that, knowing that having that escape plan, and I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah. So always drive yourself to make sure that or go with somebody that does not doesn't have a problem with leaving when or if you want to. So,
Yep.
all right, Mike's message of hope once again.
Uh-huh.
And on that, what do you think on that message of hope? I think it's time for a hopeful message. I got nothing. Take a break.
Yeah,
Huh?
exactly. All right. We'll be back with more rambling nonsense right after this word from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
At least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. And yeah, rambling nonsense. That was about it. I didn't even know what the fuck I was trying to say. And I'm like, that's the cool part. Again, I keep saying it. The cool part about this is that, if either we just keep talking until it makes sense, that's number one, or we're just like, fuck it, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and we just go on.
Right.
So
just, not make sense for a few minutes and then stop.
Right. Well, and how many times has there been, we're sitting there talking, all of a sudden you're like, God, I have no fucking idea where I was going with that. Like, okay, it'll come to me.
Right.
And we start over. So
yeah, exactly. Well, I know I've done a little bit of damage to myself, so occasionally it fades out. Yep.
Right. But there was, and I don't remember where I heard it from. It might actually be I think it was the morning show that I still listen to. They said that every once in a while that when they're on the air, and this was years ago, they say they'd forget what they were talking about. They said, well, we just always keep talking until it makes sense again, or until it doesn't.
Right.
I'm like, that's kind of great advice, but it was always funny because sometimes you could tell, but most of the time you couldn't really tell. So it was actually kind of funny. But all right, so we do have and I'll call it a listener question, but she's also excuse me, one of our followers. Hang on one second. Pause.
Yep. Pause. He's going to clear his throat.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm sitting there talking, all of a sudden I got this fucking throat bubble. So, that's unprofessional.
Hey, throat bubble.
Yeah, what are you doing over there? None of your business, goddammit. What I do in the comfort of my own space is my own
own throat.
Yeah, my own throat. All right. So she is one of our followers that interacts with us a lot on Instagram. I know she's a listener. She's the one that left the review for us that said both of them are immature. One's more immature than the other, but wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, but wouldn't tell us which one. So I just thought it was still kind of funny. But So I had posted about, like listener questions and things like that. And then I think that's a Megan
Hmm.
saw that too. So we got some questions
Right.
for her. But so this was from the other person. I have a possible topic for a future podcast. I don't think you've touched on this. We have, though. I recently observed 1,400 days of continuous sobriety. When I told this
Nice.
to one of my kids, she was
Hmm.
wondering what was the big deal. Like, if you slipped for a day or two, why not
Ah.
just subtract back to the last day sober? So, 1,400 minus one, blah,
Stupid
blah,
fucking kid.
blah. But she said rather than resetting the clock. And she
Uh-huh.
said it kind of threw her off. She didn't know how to, answer it other than
Mm.
honesty and motivation.
Hmm.
And then she even tried to look online and couldn't find anything meaningful. So she said it
Huh.
may be there and I haven't found it. She said maybe I'd like the sober not mature spin on the whole thing.
Ah.
So she
All
said
right.
thanks in advance. So now the thing of it is, and we have talked about it, but the fact that it came from in getting these questions from a child, and I don't know how
Mm.
old the child is, can
Right.
be, sometimes it's all of us kind of understand the deal of the resetting the clock and the whole bit, but
Hmm.
um, I don't know, take that for what it's worth. So just days, slipping a day, let's call it a slip because we don't like that
Hmm.
term anyhow, but
Right.
so again, slip to the side for a day, and why don't we continue rather than reset?
Uh-huh.
In the
Well,
most simplest of terms, right?
all right. Well, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. No. There no, there isn't. So no, this is I quit drinking every fucking day. I passed out. Um, Stopping doesn't mean anything. It's continuing. It's the continuous sobriety is what is important. Um, so yeah, I can't take a break from this thing. I can't take a vacation. I'm going for a week to have a vacation. I can't go down there and do whatever the hell I want. It's an all inclusive. I mean, there's booze everywhere when we go down there. Thankfully, my girlfriend Chris doesn't drink. She will have, occasionally she will have one. One time we were down there, they accidentally gave her a loaded pina colada, and she drank it. And it was fine. I mean, she looked at me, she asked me. I said, "I don't give a shit. That's you. You do what you want," and she did, and it was fine. But no, it's I. This is a continuous thing. Like I said, I stopped every fucking day. I passed out. I literally physically stopped drinking every day. I've talked about it before. I was not a maintenance drinker. I couldn't do that. So I would, the days when I could get my ass to work, I didn't drink during the day when I was at work. I stopped every day, and then I started again every day because I couldn't help myself. Yeah, the important thing of doing this thing is not stopping this thing. I mean, we've talked about that plenty of times too. Everybody that relapses, slips, whatever, they stop working the program, and then they go back to doing what they do. That's what we all do. um, the importance of doing this is the continuous sobriety. It's not, I don't get a vacation from this. I can't. If I get a vacation from this, I'm gone. I'm never coming back. Permanent vacation, as Aerosmith said.
Right.
Right. Yeah. If you do, for whatever reason, um, stop doing this thing and start doing what we do, that time you had before does not count. It just doesn't. You know. I don't know if that really. Yeah, it does explain it. Explains it to me.
And you know what? This is one, the fact that I read it, and then there's another a thing after this that I want to get your opinion
Hmm.
on, whether we talk about, but it all kind of deals with the same type of thing. So this hit me two different times, so I had a chance to. I tried not to think about these things because I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to cloud myself before we get on here, but
Hmm.
I had a couple of thoughts. So the first thought, if you're in a 12-step program and you drink again, whether it's for a minute, a day, a week, or a month, or whatever it is, that
Hmm.
means that you did not understand the first step, and
Right.
the first step is simple, powerless over alcohol and drugs, life is unmanageable. Okay.
Hmm.
And if you drink again, then you failed the first step and you got to start over. Okay, so that's
Yep.
from a 12-step standpoint, that part is simple. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
thought about it on a life standpoint, so trying to explain it to a kid,
Mm.
and it made me think of video games. Video games have levels.
Right.
If you get to level 26 and you get killed in your video game, um,
Mm-hmm.
you don't start at level 26 and keep moving on. They take you all the way
Right.
back to level 1. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's on a kid level. Then I thought about like, I don't know, Guinness records, Guinness Book of World Records type of things, anything like that. If the Guinness Book of World Records for dribbling a basketball is 725 times, the guy gets
Mm-hmm.
up to 724 and the ball slips, he doesn't just get to continue.
Right. He doesn't get to pick it back up, bounce it 2 more times. Hey, I'm a world record winner.
Right.
That's good. I like that.
That is the most ridiculous example I could provide,
Mm.
but it is.
But it's yeah.
It's a continuation type of thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
again, loyal listener, hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. At least that's how
Yeah.
we make sense of it. But if
Right.
nothing else, even putting it on to try to explain the 12 steps to a child might be probably
Mm.
the most difficult one. Depending
Mm-hmm.
on age, I think the video game thing could be an easy
Yeah.
correlation. And then the Guinness Book of World Records just made me
Yeah.
laugh. And then
The
you added
bouncing the basketball. Yeah, that's perfect.
you
Yeah.
added the perfect thing on there. The guy gets back up and just goes, oh, boom. Okay, I made a
Hey.
record holder. Hey, look
I
at
am
me.
the champion. Cue the Queen song.
Yeah, he may have, trying to get to that point. Whoever got, if it is, I didn't look up the record. Got it. I think I would shit myself if it was 725. But
Mm-hmm.
the guy probably bounced the ball. Whoever gets the world record for that probably bounced it a million times to get the
Oh,
record.
you're right. Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing when people talk about and she put this in exactly in here. She said that she, recently observed 1,400 days of it. She used the
Mm-hmm.
word continuous sobriety, which,
Mm-hmm.
to begin with, I had trouble with that statement because I'm like, duh. But to
Mm.
your point, you're the one that made sense about, to me about it
Yeah.
is that, the part of it is continuous. We have to do that. And stating to somebody, yeah, maybe I fucked up for years, but this is what I have now. I have
Mm-hmm.
1,400 days, or I have 10 years, or I have whatever of continuous sobriety. Then it made sense to me,
Right.
So, but yeah, it was just one of those things where I like the way you said too. You're like, did that make sense? Did I explain it? Well, it makes sense to me. But that kind of led into another thing. So I don't know. I'm getting. And I'm gonna let you make the decision on this. I'm getting kind of worn out in this whole Matthew Perry thing, but
Mm.
I came across an article. It was an LA Times article,
Uh-huh.
and there was part of it. I don't know, a couple of things in here I agree with, and a couple I don't. And I just, if it's up to you, it might make for an interesting couple of minute conversation based on this
Yeah,
guy's.
let's do it.
Okay,
Right.
so give me just a second. Like I say, I'm trying.
All right.
I don't want to get I don't know. Again, this whole fucking Matthew Perry thing, it's just like any other, and no offense to him or his family or anything like that,
Mm.
but it just seriously, I'm getting kind of burned out by the whole thing. everyone's talking about it
Right.
and I get it, but
Well, yeah, he's the latest, most famous casualty of this disease,
Right.
Yeah, one way or another. I mean, and again, we don't know if but certainly, it was either directly or indirectly due to, and nobody drops dead at 54 years old.
Right.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm going to be 57 in a couple of months, and I sure as hell wouldn't be if I'd kept going the way I was going. So, yeah, right.
Well, I told you I started listening to his book, didn't I?
No.
Oh,
You said
okay.
you were thinking about it, right?
Yeah, I did on my way up to Appleton last weekend. So I'm probably I'm a few hours into it. It's like an 8-hour book.
Okay.
And I'm going to listen to it on the way out to Ohio and back. I'll end up finishing it up and then I'll give you my opinions on it. But no spoiler alerts on there. But the so the headline, and this is an opinion article, and I'll end up reading off the guy's name because his name is Sean Daniels. Now this guy's 12 years sober. Okay. This author or the writer.
Yeah.
So it's an opinion article. This is the title. What will the Matthew Perry toxicology results reveal? Here's why it shouldn't matter. So again, it hooked me, and I'm like, well.
Yeah, right.
So he's talking about official cause of death and blah 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 blah, and people talking about whether or not he relapsed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it said that it said even in the addiction recovery world, it says I've heard people suggest Perry's legacy depends on whether the pending toxicology reports shows he suffered a relapse. They couldn't be
Mm-hmm.
more wrong. So there's things
Right.
in here that I agree with, and things I
Mm-hmm.
don't agree with. And
Right.
I don't think personally, I don't think his legacy is going to be affected whether he was or wasn't. I mean,
Well.
he's got a book of work. He tried to help people. If it got him in
Mm-hmm.
the end, then it got him in the end. I mean, that
Right.
that kind of is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's saying that says he changed the conversation about addiction in our country. More people will
Right.
get help because of his bravery. Fewer
Mm-hmm.
people will die. Um, Opinion. What do you think? And I have a thought, but
I mean, I don't think it was that big of a deal. Yes, he did, he brought the conversation to probably places that it wouldn't have normally been. Just from the vanilla white bread, Wonder Bread, middle America mayonnaise eating motherfuckers out there that
right,
watch Friends, yeah. So yes, it probably again, shined a light where maybe that light wasn't going to be shown otherwise. But no, none of us can save any lives,
right.
shit, Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob, those guys, they put it down and yeah, they helped. They saved my life. But they're both dead too. So there you go. Yeah, so I guess, I don't know how many lives will be saved. He certainly, he opened some beds up. He may have provided a few more opportunities that weren't there before, which is great. I'm not trying to belittle that. I'm just saying, yeah, maybe the conversation is in places that it wasn't before, and certainly the physical, the hardware, if you will, of having some beds and having places for people to go absolutely helps,
Right.
But other than that, settle down.
Right. Yeah, and he's not, the next coming of, whatever people think Christ is or anything like that. I mean,
Right.
he's a literally, and again, the only thing I'll talk about is book. I mean, this dude's fucking hardcore. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
With all this stuff. And
Right.
so garden variety, we know 1,000 people like him.
Mm-hmm.
With the
Yeah.
exception that he was on a hit TV show and had millions
Right.
of dollars. And to your
Yep.
point, I like the way you put that. He put it in places that it may never have gotten because of who
Mm-hmm.
he was in the show he was
Right.
on. And the
Mm-hmm.
only other thing I was going to say on that is that I think that he might, unfortunately, and it happens, he might save more lives in his death than he did while he was alive because,
Well,
again, this is blown up. And like I said, I'm getting kind of tired of it, but
Mm.
it's everywhere now. So that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad
Right.
thing that it's out there everywhere.
Right.
And the fact that I'm getting tired of it doesn't mean a fucking thing. I'm not all
Right.
that either, so
Mm-hmm.
was saying that okay, so that type of thinking. Oh, hang on 1 second. Did I miss any part? No. That part of thinking exactly what keeps people sick. Shame is an ally of addiction, and this notion threatens
Mhm.
people in recovery with the possibility of extra shame that no matter what you do to get sober, if it ends poorly, it was all worth nothing. So
Mm.
I'm going to say first, I disagree with that statement. None of us,
Right.
I know I've never said it. I know you've never said it. Anyone that we've ever been around has never said
Mhm.
that what that person, just because even if they died sober, that it meant nothing,
Right.
and I don't know. He's lumping together a whole group of people, which I think is wrong, in
Mhm.
that
Oh,
statement.
absolutely.
So
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course it's bullshit. I mean, I've clearly had friends that were sober for a while and then they weren't and then they died. And yeah, they taught me things. That doesn't go away. I still have those lessons learned, both good and bad. Like we always say, there's no bad examples.
right.
and that's true with, whatever, from some dude in Cleveland or, Matthew Perry in fucking Hollywood. Yeah.
All right. Now this next paragraph, and this one kind of, and again, this is where I started looking to see. I didn't realize it at the point of this point in the article that I was reading it. I didn't realize this guy was sober until like the next paragraph after this. But it says, even in the recovery world where we say, so he did say we here, say relapse is a part of recovery, which we don't say that.
Right.
If you're using a collective we, sir, don't include us with that because we don't. The most
Sir.
Yeah, sir. Sir. You fucking male Karen. No, it doesn't. And then here's the other part. He says the most valued story is that of a person seen as fully recovered. I'm like, no such thing. And
right.
Then he's like, he says, we value time. The unspoken message to a newcomer is that those with the most time know the most. No, it's not. Okay. Because
right.
Every sentence in that paragraph, with the exception, well, all of them, it's a complete paragraph full of bullshit.
Right. Well, I mean, that's no, I've heard all that shit in California. Right. Yeah, that's some California recovery there.
Really?
California sober, California recovery. And
right.
It is different. We've talked about it plenty of times here. Yeah, whatever. And there's plenty of people, including this guy apparently, that, it works for and they stay sober and blah, 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 blah. Doesn't, we're full of shit too, people. Don't worry about it. There's stuff we have wrong, but at least we know that, and are willing to be called out on it, and at least I'll think about it. You tell me I'm wrong, tell me how I'm wrong, and I will think about it. I may not agree with you in the end. I might go, fuck, man, I was wrong. Or I might go, no, you're full of shit, I'm right.
Right.
Either way, though, I will think about it.
Right. Well, and that is the one thing about, I don't know. I mean, we don't put, fucking disclaimers on here. We don't put trigger warnings. We don't put any of that shit on here, because we don't believe in it. But
right.
we're also very clear about that these things are our opinions. We will make suggestions based on what we were taught, and we make suggestions based on things that we've learned. But we have been approached with, and just we've been able to experience things through this podcast. Different people, different ways of recovery. Some we agree with, some we don't, but we don't agree with it. We say why, and it's usually why it wouldn't work for us. Not that we're belittling the other person. But I don't know. I just thought that whole paragraph was, and he just was like lumping in this whole group of people, like all of us. And I'm like, nope. No. But then next paragraph. So he says, when you're a relapser like me, and I was a professional relapser, what you hear is that everything you learned during your last sober stint is worthless, and you're now back to square one. And how many times can you hear that before you're tired of starting over? And I thought, Jesus Christ, again, maybe
well, first of all, that's bullshit too, because
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Everything, right. You may not have applied it and worked it and whatever, but I mean, yes, that bullshit California stuff that I got when I was 30, I incorporate some of that stuff in my life today. Certainly 12 years later when I actually started working this program, there were seeds planted. There's a reason that's a phrase in the program. There are seeds planted. They're in there. They didn't germinate. They were sitting in my shit and didn't start to grow, but they were in there. Yeah, that's it. God. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely California.
Yeah, I know. It just, because I thought about that when he was saying that, everything's worthless the last time and you're now back to square one. Yes, you're back to square one as far as starting over with, the days and things like that. You're day one.
Right.
But I mean, I've never heard anyone tell anyone that, actually it's been the opposite. I've never heard anyone tell anyone that what they've learned is worthless. I've heard people tell people that realize that everything you learned, figure out the little things. We got to pull out what didn't work. Everything else was good. And I remember talking to people and saying, okay, so, you were doing this, and this, and everything was going along. But when you got to that fork in the road that was, basically the fuck it fork, fuck it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going over here, or fuck it, I'm going to continue. Um, why did you choose the other direction? What was going on with you? What weren't you doing? Let's figure out that
Right.
piece.
What weren't you willing to do?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, because clearly, you got to that fork, so you were doing something right. You were working something, because you made it, whatever, 40, 60, 90, a year, sober without picking up a drink or a drug, which is pretty fucking amazing. Right. But then, you either stopped doing something or you weren't willing to take that next step, to work on whatever. And you went back to the easier, softer way,
Right.
said, well, fuck, I can't do that. So I'm just going to go and get loaded because it's easier. I need that ease and comfort. And, that's bullshit. It was all waste.
God,
God.
I wish I would have printed this out. If I could just check off every paragraph that was bullshit. We've got quite a few of them so far. But
I'm sure.
so here's the paragraph that goes now back to our listener question about starting over. Okay. So
Right.
if you were driving across the country, and this is from the guy, not me, Sean.
Right, Sean.
Sean, and it is spelled. Let's call him Scene, because that's how it's spelled.
Right. Yeah.
So this is from Scene. If you were driving across the country and your car broke down, would you get it fixed and then go back to where you started your trip to begin again? That doesn't make any sense, which is true. That doesn't make any sense what you're saying, Scene. But it's exactly how we talk about addiction and relapse. No, it's not.
No.
No, it's not.
You talk about it, Scene.
Right. Because here's the thing. So this is, I'll take a look. I don't think there's anything else in the article. At this point, I was just kind of like literally screaming in my head by the time I got to this part. But so here's the thing. Here's the major difference between, even though everything in that paragraph is wrong and we don't look at it that way and blah, blah, blah. If your car breaks down, that is outside of your control. Okay. I've never met anyone that said, I'm going to take a trip and I'm going to, at some point during the trip, said, I'm going to make my car break down right now, and did something to make their car break down.
Right.
Either
pop the hood and start working it with a hammer.
Right. Or just drove along and reached outside with a gun and blew the tire out or something like that. So
drive off a bridge.
Right. So that would be something that would be of their control. I was in Beaver Dam and my car broke down.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, I did not do that on purpose. It just, that was life. Life happened to me. Okay. A relapse doesn't just happen to you. It is something that you physically put a substance into your body somehow. We've already discussed it on here too. And I think the example is somebody broke into your house, knocked you out, and shot you up with heroin. And that's what I'm like. Oh, so that's going to be your story now. Let me write that down.
Right? Yeah. Like somebody's going to fucking waste their drugs on me.
Oh, so Mike's house got broken into. Somebody broke in, knocked him out, and shot him up with heroin. Okay, I'm all right. But no, that's if somebody spikes your drink or something like that, that's not a relapse. That didn't happen to you. So this whole thing about your car breaking down is fucking ridiculous. Now, I'll even go so far as to say, give this guy a little bit of rope, but still prove him wrong. If you got a flat tire, okay, you're not just going to put a couple of pieces of duct tape on the tire, put some air in it, and keep driving along. You're going to make sure to fix that broken part, right? Which is something that we do as human beings and as alcoholics and drug addicts. If something went bad and we relapsed, we got to fix that piece. Exactly what we were talking about. But yes, we do start over. We're not going to use we're not going to do the same things. That's the definition of insanity, right? So
right, and it's a poor analogy too. Talk about living in the moment. We can't go back to where we started. When I got sober at 42, I couldn't go back to where I was at 30 to start over. I was 42. I couldn't go back and be 30 again. So I can't. The car trip, that's stupid. You can't go back because it's not there anymore. It's physically impossible to go back to where you started. Yeah, that's dumb.
I know it was, and then when I caught on like a little bit later on in the article, it's talking about people in recovery, and he says yes, of course, there's value in having 12 years compared to 7 days, and that's where I actually I
Mm,
ended up looking it up and figured out, yeah, that he does talk about a lot of sober jerks and things like that, things that I agree with and things that I know you
hmm
agree with, but I mean he just kind of touches on all those little things, but then just I don't know. But then he does talk about the world record for sobriety, the 24 hours, which again, we all have one day, blah, blah, blah.
hmm
And we get it. We're never trying to poo poo that idea. We understand living a day at a time, but
Right.
time fucking matters if
hmm
you're using that time right. You could be, to his point, and he said it in here, there's a lot of sober jerks out there. There's people with 15,
Oh,
20,
sure.
25. There's people with 30 days or 30 years that are fucking assholes, and just
hmm
because they're sober, they haven't done any of the other work, so.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and they're still miserable. And Jesus, I don't want to fucking be that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no point.
So that was Scene Daniels from
All right,
LA
scene.
from LA Times. So, but
Well, thank you, sir.
yeah, thank you, sir. There's the door. But seriously, yeah, just I don't want to say lit up about it. I was just like, oh man,
hmm
because when I
All
first
right.
looked at it, I'm like, this would be great, and I'm like, God, do we really want to keep fucking talking about Matthew Perry?
Mm,
Again, no, not I don't mean that for him, but
right.
I mean, part of it, some of these things that are being brought up. I guess the whole point is that I think his toxicology, or God, I can't even say it. Toxicology results matter
hmm
because
hmm
they're. I think and the guy mentioned there about family and stuff like that. I mean, yes,
hmm
his family needs closure, and I
Sure.
think that it's possible one way or the other. This cause of death could actually help people.
hmm
Because I'm sure people like us. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's 54 years old, man.
Right.
54-year-old normal 54-year-old people, whatever quote unquote normal is, do not
hmm
drop dead, at
Right.
54. They just don't,
Right.
And I
Yeah.
mean, it does. It maybe causes people some comfort and gives them some comfort, whatever the case is. Oh, he was just a fucking drug addict and alcoholic. That's why he died, or had a heart
Mm-hmm.
attack because of that. And then other
Right.
people that might say, "Ooh, you know what? I did a lot of that shit.
Uh-huh.
I may need to, watch myself." So I think
hmm
it could help. So I think
Yeah.
it's everyone's going to end up finding out anyhow. But
Sure.
saying it doesn't matter, I think it's a tad. I'm not going to call the guy an idiot for not wanting to know or saying it doesn't matter, but I think it
hmm
has worth. That's all.
Sure. Of course. Yeah. Well, yeah. It matters. But and like I said when we started, clearly, yeah. And you touched on it. He died either directly or indirectly from this disease.
Right.
That's choices and consequences, man. How many times have we heard that?
Right. Yeah, and that's and we've talked about the when I went in for my physical. I
hmm
was 11 months sober, and I was fucking scared. Um,
Right.
I was scared to go in there because I knew where I was when I went into detox, and that was
hmm
and I believe the doctor. I don't think he was fucking with me, because he
hmm
was pissed off when he finally said it to me, because I was being just so kind of nonchalant and cavalier about it, and
Sure.
um, he's like, you had weeks. He goes, not years, not months even. He goes, you had weeks
hmm
if you keep doing what you're fucking doing. He didn't say fucking, I don't
Right.
think.
Mm.
He should have,
Right.
but but he said, I had weeks to live, and that's what I did at 41 years old. I was all fucked up, and
hmm
11 months later, I'm like, fuck, I hear all these guys around us. I mean, people have, liver disease and kidney
hmm
disease and, heart disease and all these different things. And I was
Right.
fucking scared, and the only thing at that time was my blood sugar level was high because I was,
hmm
fucking candy and sugar feed,
Well, yeah.
and I mean, I get my ice cream.
hmm
But yeah, I mean, it was scary because I don't know, I didn't know, and
Right.
I mean, part of me where
And you decided you wanted to fucking live.
yeah, and even to this day, I mean, I need to go back to the doctor. I'd like to get a
Mm.
physical again because it's been a while, um,
hmm
and I mean, neither one of us are fucking young. I mean, we
Right.
joke about it every once in a while, but if fucking reality is, we're 55 and 50 almost. 57 years
hmm
old,
Right.
and we've done some shit to ourselves in the
hmm
past, and I mean,
Yep.
certain things can be, rejuvenated and regenerated and
Yeah.
fixed and all those sort of things, and you get healthier. But man, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Right. Yeah, and whatever. And we all die anyway, so
right, right. But I mean,
I'm certainly not scared of death. I'm kind of looking forward to it.
well, and that's the thing too, and we've talked about that, and on a serious level, we've talked about the fact that, I mean, I'm not afraid to die, but I'd like to
Hmm.
hang around, for a little bit longer
Mm-hmm.
because, and
Right.
it's not so much. I mean, yeah, I think about it even from. I'm at the point now where, and I think I said this when we talked about it a month or so ago, that there's things I want to do and things I want to see, but more
Mm-hmm.
importantly, I want to be seen and I want to be involved with those around me, and
Mm-hmm.
the kids and the grandkids and the family and all those sort of
Yep.
things. And we talk about building memories and building this
Mm-hmm.
where how do people look at us, or how will they look at us when we're gone?
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's what, at least to me now, and it's probably been that way for a while, but I live
Mm-hmm.
for that more than I live for anything else.
Right.
Because I mean, you think about it, it's a weird fucking way to look at it, but the minute I die, all these cool things that I did, they're fucking gone. I mean,
Yep.
it's like I can't take them all with me, but
Oh yeah.
I get to leave all this shit to all these people out there, all these
Mm-hmm.
people that I love and care about. I get to leave all this stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some good memories. Yeah. That's
right,
that's all I could do.
right,
Yeah. Exactly, man. Again, living in the moment, yeah, all this shit I've done, the minute I die, it's gone. Yeah, guess what? The minute I did it, it's fucking gone. You know, shit I did yesterday, it's
right,
gone. It's
right,
gone. Right. But, hopefully, right, the kids and grandkids will, add 10, 15, 20 years after I'm gone, they'll go, yeah, that old asshole was kind of all right. I remember this one time he made me smile. He made me feel good, whatever. Yeah, fuck, that's all I care about. That's all I care about.
right. Yeah, it's like every once in a while that both Derek and Kimmy have done it to me, and they'll be like, "Do you remember
Mm-hmm.
when, or that time when?" And I'm like, "God, do you remember that?" And it's just, it's a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Right.
not a bad thing. And I was talking
Mm-hmm.
to Morgan, one of our friends, through Instagram, and I don't know, she was
Mm-hmm.
asking me what we were doing for Thanksgiving, telling her blah 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 the plan, and she's having Thanksgiving at her place, and I'm like, "Do you do the whole thing?" She's all, "Love to cook the meal," and
Mm-hmm.
it made me think about when Dawn and I first split. That's my son's mom and I, for everyone,
Right.
first split when I had Derek for Thanksgiving. And again, he was shit when we split up. He was 9 when I got sober. So we're talking, I don't know, 6, 7 years old, roughly in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got the idea from Mom and Larry. I'm sure I did. Is that I didn't want to cook a full turkey, but they said, get a turkey breast, which is still,
Uh-huh.
it's 3-4 pounds of meat, and
Right.
season it all up, put some chicken broth in there, and throw it in the slow cooker, and then cook everything else.
Right.
And I did that, for him and I, and
Mm-hmm.
he used to like, and I used to make real mashed potatoes, not
Mm-hmm.
canned, not whatever. I'd actually get the
Mm-hmm.
potatoes, peel them, boil them the whole bit,
Right.
because then throw the butter, a little bit of milk in there, and then I'd pull out the mixer, and he's like, "Can I do that?" And he's just this little kid. He'd
Right.
pull up a chair, and I would hold the mixer, kind of just steady it for him. But he
Uh-huh.
loved, big old fucking bowl of potatoes, just throwing the mixer through. And I, of course, taught him. I'm like, you can't lift this, can't lift this up, because I'm like, these
Mm-hmm.
potatoes will be everywhere. And he's like, really? I said,
Yep.
no, don't try it. I'm like, I'm not messing around. Don't try it. So he had texted me about something. He sent me this meme about something today, and I said, hey, I was just
Mm.
talking about this. Do you remember that? And he's like, yeah. He goes, I remember that, and it just made me smile,
Mm-hmm.
because that was just kind of just little things like that, making fucking mashed potatoes. I was still drinking.
Oh.
I wasn't very happy with myself at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
um, looking back now, or realizing now that, I mean, that was a nice positive memory I even had in my own little shitstorm of stuff.
Right.
I'm not proud of the person I was at that point, but
Mm-hmm.
man, I'm glad he doesn't remember. Like, yeah, I also remember that you were whatever at that time while we were making potatoes.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't come up, but I don't know. That's what it is. It's all about these. It's all about these little things.
Mm-hmm.
So, last thing, and this just kind of popped into my head, and I may have this on again on my sheet someplace, but I don't know. I was listening to a podcast not too long ago, and I think this podcast and one other one. Well, this podcast specifically had said it a couple of times. Not going to mention the podcast. I respect the individual. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything wrong with saying this. It just kind of threw me a little bit. But they said that just understand, these topics that we talk about. So every once in a while, people will send us messages saying that all we talk about is doom and gloom, and that's kind of what
Mm.
recovery is. You got all these bad things we went through, and this and that. It's like this
Mm.
isn't. We're not doing some sort of comedy podcast. And I just kind of, I mean, and again, I'm working while listening to this. I'm like, have you listened to ours? And this person,
Uh-huh.
this person has listened to our podcast. Okay, so
Okay.
we know this person. Okay,
All right.
but I'm like, okay, so yes, we tell stories. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
we do tell how it was, but I mean, we've been told, and I mean, I think we're fucking funny, but I
Mm.
mean,
We amuse ourselves.
right? I couldn't even say that with a straight face. That's a better way to put it. We do amuse ourselves, and we make. I laugh so much on here; it's not even fucking funny. But we've had actually people tell us that they appreciate the way that we talk about some things, and the fact that
Yeah.
we can talk about things in a light way but still make a point, right? So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
no, we're not on here going, hey, so what about that airline food? I mean, we're not fucking Jerry
Right.
Seinfeld up here, but I mean,
Uh-huh.
again, everything we do is not all doom and gloom, but we can talk about
No.
serious topics, right? I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we can. And we can, also talk about serious topics and make fun of people at the same time. Scene.
And it was funny, and I just thought about this. I didn't think about this at the time that was said, but I listened to, well, at the time I was reposting all those clips. I re-listened to, the main episode that we did for Mom, and then the one
Uh-huh.
after that. I think wherever I was driving, and I mean, we started off fucking that episode started off with us joking around because the recording fucked up, and we ended up doing like a take two type of thing, and then we were
Uh-huh.
fucking around about a special episode. That's where you talked about Sanford's or no, different strokes or the
Oh,
bicycle
God.
shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, man. At the time we did that, our mom wasn't even in the fucking ground yet, and
Right.
we started off with that. So,
Yeah.
and again, we talked about, it was that was probably that was the deepest and most heartfelt thing that we've ever done openly like
Mhm.
that, into microphones.
Right. Mhm.
But I mean, we still tried to have some fun with it.
Of course.
I don't know.
Again, I don't want to be fucking miserable. That's
Right.
not why I'm doing this shit, man. Again, still selfish and self-centered, just in a good way now. Right. I don't want to be fucking miserable. That's if I wanted to be miserable, I'd have just kept doing what I was doing. That was kind of the point. I didn't want to be as miserable as I was anymore. Didn't know how to stop, didn't know how to, how to be happy.
Right.
But yeah, again, today I'm reasonably happy. What the fuck?
Right.
What am I? Yeah, exactly. Yes, we're pieces of shit. Yes, we did bad things. Okay, living in the moment. I'm not as big a piece of shit, and I don't do as many bad things as I used to. Yay!
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. I've said this before about, and again, no offense to other podcasts, but I get these guests on there that are talking about, or even if they're not guests, or they'll have whatever their setup is, two people like it is with us, for instance,
Sure.
and they tell these stories, and everyone's just like, "Oh man, you went through so much." And then you and I are fucking laughing our asses off at each other, going, "Oh, Jesus Christ! You're walking down your fucking driveway with your pants off, and you fell. How many times?"
Yeah, I don't know, 3 or 4. I don't know. I was fucking in a blackout. Couldn't tell you. I wasn't counting.
I know. But yeah.
Bouncing that basketball off the pavement.
Right, which was the basketball was your face.
I was going for a world record.
But no, and I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not trying to badmouth the podcast. It just kind of threw me. I'm like, this shit just does. I don't know. We've said it. If we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times that we wouldn't do this, meaning this podcast. We wouldn't do this, meaning recovery. We wouldn't do any of it if we couldn't have fun and couldn't talk about these stories and not try to find some light in them because
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just fucking doom and gloom. I don't want doom and gloom and
No,
in any
I've lived my life
conversation.
that way for decades, and it
Right.
didn't work very well. I
Right.
like this better. I like being happier and lighter. And yes, it was garbage, but it was garbage 13 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, it's not today. Live in the fucking moment, people.
Right. Not today, man. Not today.
Yeah, not fucking today.
But yeah, speaking of Derek, I don't remember if he was in a group text. He actually is coming for Thanksgiving.
Oh, cool. No, I didn't see that.
Okay, yeah, he must have yeah texted us, and I don't know, another one, but yeah, I forgot to tell you about that. Maybe it was just like last week or so that I found out. But Katie
They
has
both coming?
no, Katie has to
No.
work on Friday,
Right.
and she's doing Thanksgiving with her family. Derek's
Mm-hmm.
actually bringing down her car because he doesn't
Yeah.
drive his truck. Not that he could probably
Right.
make it, but he's bringing her
Eh.
car, and then
Uh-huh.
he'll be here. I don't know, so probably Thursday early afternoon, and he's probably leaving mid afternoon on Friday because they got stuff going on with
Okay.
Katie's family on Friday and
Sure.
Saturday. But yeah, I was just kind of like, I'm like, oh, that's cool, And I saw when
Nice.
I had breakfast with them on the way back from Appleton last weekend, so I got
Mm-hmm.
to see both Katie and Derek for breakfast. But
Cool.
yeah, it was nice. But yeah, so I was just happy. I mean, he hasn't. Well, I can't say that. 2 years ago, he was here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been the year that was just right out of the pandemic. I don't know if you were here that. Oh yeah, you would have been here, right?
No, I think I missed a year because I wasn't getting vaccinated, and yeah, I eventually did because, yeah, that's a whole. I got that because, I had to be around mom, and,
Right.
not that, yeah, made her feel better. Didn't do a goddamn thing one way or practical, but it made her feel better, so I went and got jabbed.
Right. Yeah, and that was yeah, because I think at that time, well, whatever the whole thing, but that was a couple years ago. But
Yep.
yeah, so I was just oh yeah, you were here because that's when I came back from that Thanksgiving is when I tested positive for COVID because you were
Mm.
going to a concert like that Saturday or Sunday, I think, with that buddy of yours from high school or whatever, the one that was managing the band. But anyhow,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think you were here that year. But
Went
anyhow,
and saw the Temptations.
yeah, yeah. But no, it'll be fun. Like I said, I think it's going to be kind of a small group of us. But and I knew it was kind of up in the air about Amber and Lydia, but I'm glad they can come too.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we've rambled
Oh,
enough.
and
And oh, sorry.
speaking of family, no. I meant to. I was gonna. Yeah. So, Chris's son Cameron listens. Hi, Cameron.
Hi, Cameron.
And and he had a note for us. He doesn't like when we have guests. he prefers it when it's just you and I.
Really?
Yeah. He actually he told Chris that, and she told me last week, a week before, whatever the hell it was. But Michael was going to be on, so I didn't bring it up when Michael was on. And plus, he doesn't count. He wasn't a real guest. He's just one of us. So instead of two of us, it was three of us.
Right.
But but yeah, I just wanted to let you know that. Yeah, Cameron prefers when it's just us. He thinks the guests get in the way.
Well, and here's the thing. So to begin with, I know that when we started getting guests, it was random. I think we started,
Mhm.
kind of soliciting for guests a little bit, and then we just got this string of
Right.
people that kept coming up to us, type of thing. And then to begin with, we were only going to do no more than two. We were trying to do one, and then there were certain months when it was just we had so many people. It was 2-3 people in a
Yeah.
month. But
Right.
it's funny though what I've noticed, and Cameron, I agree with him to a certain extent. Only in the extent that sometimes we don't get an opportunity to kind of join in the conversation enough. So
Mm.
getting in the way might be a little harsh. But there's a point to it. I think that, in my opinion, if we could ever get it down to consistently at a minimum of one, that 1 to 2 weeks a month, maybe one for sure.
Mhm.
I think it gives a nice mix because I watch
Right.
just from if you look at the plays on our episodes, it's weird. Sometimes you and our episode will outperform a guest episode. Rarely,
Mhm.
but a lot of times Sometimes it will. And then other times you can
Right.
see when it's us for a few weeks, then those
Mhm.
plays drop a little bit. And I think, maybe the masses of people appreciate maybe different thoughts and opinions. But I don't know. It's
Right.
a mix that I don't think we're gonna ever get completely right. But at this point, we don't have anyone scheduled um, between now and whenever. So.
Yeah. Right.
But
Yeah. So you're stuck with us for a while,
yeah,
people.
you might
And
be.
you're
And
welcome, Cameron.
yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you what. Here is the way for the random listener out there, or the non-random listener, is do what our good friend from Instagram and loyal listener did. Do what Megan did, which we've got 7 questions from her, which we didn't have a chance to get to. We got more episodes to get to those.
Hmm.
Send us shit. If you're
Yep.
tired of us rambling, then give us a fucking topic.
Hmm.
That's it. I mean,
That's it.
even if we've talked about it before, if we've talked about it, we'll bring it up and say, yeah, we touched on this before. Like when people said, every once in a while, I'll get the same meme like from 5 different people,
Right.
and it's one that I've seen like a month ago, but which is
Uh-huh.
fine, but same type of thing. It may be the same topic, but if you have something for us to talk about, you're like, these guys just
Hmm.
talk about the same shit. Okay, so what do you want us to talk about?
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? So yeah.
We're here for the listener. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys believe that, good. 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 Good.
Yeah. Keep believing it.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Yeah. Fuck it. I think we're going to be done like 7 minutes ago. But I'm glad you brought that up about Cameron. That's a good one. I like that. I like that a lot. It
Yeah,
makes
I thought you would.
it makes me. It feeds the egotist inside of me. So Cameron,
Hmm.
I appreciate you. So. All right. I think we're done. You ready?
We are. I am ready. All right, kids. Thanks for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody about it. Now it's time, kids. It is that time. It is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate. Dream the impossible dream and keep fucking off forever.
I mean, again, the whole thing I like, but now that you've added that whole little brrr at the end, I like it. I do.
Good.
It adds a little bit of gusto to the end.
Exactly.
But hey, so if and everyone, kind of
Mhm.
stay tuned. If you're listening to this episode, keep an eye out. Possibly in the next few days, we may have a bonus episode out of the retreat that
Mhm.
we go to. It's seriously, and I'm not kidding. They've got it scheduled late, every day, and
Mhm.
it depends on that. Depending on other people around, depending on space, depending on technology, there is a lot to depend on. But if we can do it, we want to. Even if it's a short episode, we might have
Right.
a bonus episode actually with people in front of us, and hopefully
Mhm.
audience participation, and all that
Yep.
shit. So, but
Yep.
if not, hey, we'll figure out a way to do it some other place, some other time.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. We're gonna live in the moment, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. We're living in the moment, man.
That's right.
All right. Well, you know what? I love you, and I will. I'll not only talk to you tomorrow, I will get to see you tomorrow.
You will, you poor thing.
I know. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. You unlucky bastard. But
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna hang out with a bunch of drunks and sit by the lake and learn about the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous.
eat some pizza. Learn about Cuba. Have
Right.
some food.
Exactly.
All right, man. I love you,
All right.
brother.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.